gross profit's important because a business needs a gross profit to scale. You're not going to scale by reducing your overheads. You're going to scale by basically growing your gross profit. And gross profit can only grow when three different functions come together. And those functions are sales, operations, and finance. And where I see a lot of businesses struggling, and a lot of business owners struggling as well, is trying to get these three functions to work together. And I see them rather like a football team or a soccer team where you have attack, sales, midfield, operations, and defense, finance.
Well, welcome to the WA Leaders Podcast. My name's Charlie Gunningham, and in this episode, we're talking with Chris Cooper from the strategy segment. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Charlie.
Industry expert at WA Leaders. Now, can you tell us a bit about the strategy segment, what you do, and how's it going?
Right. So the strategy segment is a business that I founded a few years ago. What the business is really about is really helping business leaders to learn how to create a team with a common goal and then to leverage that team to adapt to a changing market.
Right.
So there's a little bit of finance, there's a little bit of strategy in there, and there's a lot of organizational change and working with teams and getting them really focused on the things that matter to the business owner.
And one of the things you concentrate on is gross profit and cash.
Yes.
Now, as a former economics teacher and accounting teacher, I'm going to enjoy this conversation.
Okay.
I hope the audience do too. It's very important.
So let's just say that the end goal is ultimately cash. Gross profit is a way of getting there.
Yes.
But the very first step is customer demand. So really, how do you convert customer demand into gross profit and cash? So that's really what I'm about. And what I provide for my clients is a way of leveraging their teams to take that customer demand, learn how to convert it into something that gets delivered in full on time, and then learn how to grow the gross profit and ultimately end up with the cash. The gross profit's important because a business needs a gross profit to scale.
Sure.
You're not going to scale by reducing your overheads. You're going to scale by basically growing your gross profit. And gross profit can only grow when three different functions come together. And those functions are sales, operations, and finance. And where I see a lot of businesses struggling, and a lot of business owners struggling as well, is trying to get these three functions to work together. And I see them rather like a football team or a soccer team where you have attack, sales, midfield, operations, and defense, finance. And typically I see owners trying to manage these departments individually rather than figuring out how to work them as a team. And gross profit is the intersection where those three functions work best together.
And gross profit for the uninitiated is basically your price, your revenue, your customer revenue minus your direct costs, not your expenses.
That is correct.
The variable costs of producing that, the cost of goods sold of producing that widget.
Correct.
Minus the price, right? Taken off the price is your gross profit.
That is correct.
Not your net profit, which when all the expenses are taken off.
Absolutely right. So gross profit is really
good. I got that right.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not, and I think I see a lot of business owners focus on growing revenue, but you can only grow your revenue so much before you start hitting capacity constraints.
Right.
So it's really about what you can deliver.
Yeah.
So you can sell anything, but if the margins are really low, it's probably not the best use of your capacity.
Yes.
So I see that trying to optimize your gross profit is really about maximizing your capacity for a strong margin so that you can generate enough gross profit to then cover your overheads.
So things like they've got to look at their variable costs, they've got to look at their pricing strategy.
Yes.
And some owners are reticent to put up the price every year.
Correct.
At least by the CPI, but they must do. And you'll find that very few people will leave you if they love what you're doing.
That's true. What we didn't talk about was capacity. Mm-hmm. Capacity is really important.
Can you service that demand? Right?
It's can you service that demand? Have you got the right level of capacity? And at what point do you really cover your overheads? Do you really break even? And do you really meet your shareholder expectations?
Yeah.
Is it, for example, when you've used your capacity at 95%? Because it may seem like you're making a strong profit, but really you're sailing pretty close to the wind because there's only 5% more capacity left in your delivery arm or your production arm or in service arm to generate that profit that you're after.
Yeah.
So capacity is really, really important, and perhaps a little not too well understood. It's not just about selling; it's about how to use that capacity and making sure that what comes out the other end is sufficient gross profit and cash to fund not just your overheads, but your debt, your tax, and your shareholder dividends.
And it's the reason why home builders go bust in a boom, because they've got a fixed price contract they've signed. And by the time they've got the wood in from wherever, the price has gone up and the costs have gone up and then the wages have gone up, and now they can't deliver on the house.
Really good example. Like, imagine if you've got like an apartment block, and sometimes all the profit can be in the very last apartment that's sold. You know, the other 9 or 10 apartments that you've sold, that just covers the debt, covers the building cost. But that last one is where all the profit is. And I think that's quite a good analogy for business as well, be it if you're in manufacturing or if you're in service.
And that's because we can see profit being squeezed there with fixed price and cost going up, but also it's the cash component. So profit's not the same as cash. Discuss.
Oh, look, absolutely. Look, oh God, I could have a go at the accounting profession here, and you might edit this out, but what the hell? I think profit and loss accounts and balance sheets are not enough. I think cash flow statements, while useful, are not quite enough either.
They're sort of looking backwards, aren't they?
It's all looking backwards. It's what you really need to look at is look at the next 12 months and look at, okay, what are my overheads? Like, really, what's it going to cost me to produce something? What's my administration? Okay, what's my debt? What are my taxes likely to be? What's my working capital demands? And what do I need as a shareholder? All right, that's going to create what I call a financial load. How much profit do I have to make? And some of that profit, well, that's great. I've got to pay tax on it. But have I got enough left over to pay the debt, to pay any loans, obviously, et cetera, and to pay my dividends? Because that's got to come out of a post-tax profit. So that burden, that financial loading is what has to be financed by your gross profit. Okay? So your cost of sales can scale, but the gross profit's got to fund, but it's basically got to fund that financial load, and that's step one.
When you go into a business, this is what you find, this is what you explain. And how do you find those businesses, or those businesses find you?
They're a bit shocked.
Right? You do an initial audit?
It's an initial review. It's like,
now are you sitting down? I've just been through your numbers.
It can be a shock, but it's a reality shock. And through that reality, there's a level of clarity. Okay, this is what we need to do. We've got to make that much gross profit. Right, how much capacity have we got? Okay, what would be, for example, in a service company, the average hourly rate that we can charge out, the number of hours that we have available? Okay, does that meet that gross profit target so we can cover our financial load? So things start to get really interesting, because now you're talking about capacity and demand to meet a load. So now I'm talking about operations and sales to meet a financial load. So you can start to see that sales, operations, and finance need to work together to do that. Not as departments, but as a singular unit.
Yes. So what typical size businesses, and again, how do they find you or you find them?
I would work with a business from anywhere from $3 or $4 million to about $25, $30 million, and sometimes beyond that turnover. How do they find me? Usually it's word of mouth. Sometimes it's through LinkedIn. Usually those two areas, those two channels, more than anything else.
Do you go out and present at business associations? You publish books? You're on podcasts? You do other things like that?
I do some podcasts.
You said that looking downwards.
No,
I do some podcasts.
I quite like doing podcasts. I think I'm quite a visual person, so I quite enjoy doing presentations.
Yes.
But I'm looking to do a lot more of them because I think I really enjoy them. And I like business owners in the audience and their leadership teams to really grasp the fundamentals and then use those to do really well in their business, and perhaps to look at their business through a different lens.
So we've taken a good look at what you do now. Let's take you right back to the beginning. I detect a British accent in there somewhere.
Yes, there is.
Tell us your history.
So I was born in London, and for about the first 3 years of my life, I lived in this place in South London called Croydon.
Right.
And then my parents decided that, hey, let's go to live in Australia. So we migrated to Australia because I think my father thought, I think life over there might be a bit brighter than it is here in gloomy South London. Right. So we were £10 Poms. We got on the boat and we ended up in Perth in 1967, I think it was.
Right.
And we stayed in Perth for a whole 18 months.
And you actually, we talk off camera, you remember the being on the ship, being on the boat?
Yeah, I remember being on the boat.
Amazing. Age 3, 4, yeah.
I remember certainly when I was about 5.5 when we went back, going through the Panama Canal. I can remember that.
Wow.
I can remember there was like pineapple juice on the boat because the smell of pineapple juice reminds me of the boat. So we went on a liner called the Eleanor, I think it was, either to Perth or back from Perth to Southampton. But yeah, my recollection of places that I'd visited in Perth, where we used to live, things that I used to do as a child between the ages of about 3.5 and 5.5 were really, really strong.
Wow.
And probably a lot stronger than they were when I lived in the UK between, 6 and about 12 or 13.
And so it didn't stick for your parents. They went back after a couple of years.
Yeah, they went back after a couple of years. I came back out to Perth when I was about 30. And at that point, I'd had enough of living in London.
Right. Me too. I did 26 winters. That was enough for me. So what, at school, so back in England?
Yeah.
Back in Croydon?
Yeah, in Croydon.
Right. Hello, Chris. Nice to see you. You've been away for a couple of years. Same school? That was a bit.
Oh, no. I was 5.5. So I kind of like missed.
Okay.
I have it that I missed a year of schooling, right? Because
you're on a boat for a long time.
I was on a boat. I kind of felt. I think in Australia you started school like a year later than you did in the UK.
Right.
So I got to school at about 5.5, and it was like really cold, and it was just really cold, and I'd gone from an Australian summer to an English winter, and there was snow. It was freezing cold, and I couldn't spell my name. So I was in these remedial classes trying to spell the name Christopher Cooper, and there were way too many letters in my name.
And had you picked up a bit of an Aussie accent?
I would have by then, I'm sure.
So that's difficult.
5.5. I can't remember that.
Difficult to simulate. But at school, once you got over that re-emergence into the UK, any favourite subjects, teachers? Were you captain of the soccer team? Any leadership, business acumen being shown up?
I think for me, I was always good at maths, so leading into accounting was not difficult.
Huge stretch, yeah.
But the irony was this, right? That if I had to live my life again, I would be probably a film director. Okay,
oh,
so there was a real creative side to me that I think got buried under the mathematics.
Okay.
So I used to love Tintin books, and I used to love movies a lot. To the point where when I was about 13 or 14, I wrote this book that was about all the movies that had come out in, I think, 1978. About 500 pages long, all on A4. I just bizarrely wrote this, and I think it was definitely a creative
like a film
side to
review
me.
book.
Yeah, film review book.
You were a young Barry Norman.
I was then. He was my hero.
Film 78. God. Yes, okay.
Yeah. Movies like was it Superman? What else came out? Force 10 from Neverone. Grease. I think Grease was
78.
I think it was 78. Yeah, Grease was 78. Yeah.
I think Star Wars was 77.
Star Wars was 77.
I remember Jaws.
Right. 75
because it's at the 50th anniversary. Right. Oh my goodness, takes me back. And after school, accounting?
I did a combination of maths and accounting. Yeah.
At uni or?
At uni.
Yeah.
So I went to uni in Canterbury and Kent.
And then into the profession?
Yeah, and then into the profession. So I then joined Arthur Anderson.
Okay.
Before they collapsed. So they told me everything I wanted. They taught me everything I needed to know about audit, but they didn't show me how to work the shringing machine.
They didn't exactly.
You're going to probably take that one out, Charlie.
They didn't follow their own advice.
So we're going to get in trouble over that. So I left there, and I went to start. I worked for an advertising agency.
Oh, that's
so
a bit
there
different.
You go.
There's your creative coming in.
Creative side,
Yes.
Creative advertising
Film
agency.
and accounting.
And of course, I was their finance manager before I moved into. Then after that, I went to Pizza Hut, and I worked as their tax and treasury manager. But I have to say that I pretty much worked in every industry.
So we're now into the 80s.
Yeah, that went to the 80s. Yeah.
So we're in booming London. We're in Thatcherite, 90s, corporate, consumerist. Yeah. Booming London, City of London, advertising, Pizza Hut. It's quite exciting. Quite an exciting period of time.
Yeah. Certainly working,
for an accountant.
Working in an advertising agency was really interesting, looking at
But the lure of Perth kept pulling you back.
I think that by the time it got to the early 90s, I really wanted to live somewhere else.
Early 90s recession.
It wasn't so much that. I just felt that I needed to move.
Okay.
And I had a lot of really strong memories of Perth when I was younger. I was in my late 20s, and I had these really strong memories, and I just wanted to try somewhere different. So I came out here, and I ended up working at Curtin Graduate Business School, working with one of their associate professors, a guy called Ron Cassiope.
And now Ron, passed away a couple of years ago. I know son Jonah.
Yeah, that's right. I met Jonah as well. And I worked with Ron and at Curtin and for his consultancy, Integra. And
still going, Integra?
Yeah. Wow. And, helping him with the leadership program, sometimes, running one or two of the courses. And then I worked for a change management consultancy doing large-scale cultural transformations at Western Power.
Wow.
And that was for a couple of years. And I worked for Ansett. But I've worked in literally every industry once.
You weren't doing the finance for Ansett, were you?
I worked in the finance team, but it was locally for the local airport.
Okay.
Whereas the majority of all the finance team worked in Melbourne, And I think there's lots of stories about Ansett, but I think they probably made a lot of decisions that over time you're having a number of different types of aircraft, and then having to have the stock and the maintenance teams to deal with like a wider range of aircraft, combined with the introduction of Virgin, and then you had 9/11, and a whole number of events, I think, just came together and just tipped it over.
Yeah. And eventually set yourself up in the role you are now.
Yeah, so I then started to work with much smaller businesses, small, medium-sized businesses, and really looking for a way in which to try and help business owners understand the financial aspects of a business and to better integrate sales, operations, and finance teams. So I think that became my mission, if you like. It was there's more. There has to be more to operating a business other than just finance. Yeah. So I thought for a moment that the answer was like better financial reporting. I thought for a moment the answer might be, better strategic planning. But I think I've come to realize over time that really it's about understanding how do we convert custom demand into gross profit and cash. How do we do that in a way that people can really identify with, that they understand what the objective is, what game they're playing, how to win that game.
Yeah. Keep it simple.
And just do things quarter by quarter by quarter, right? And then keep the focus on the future, not on the past.
I was speaking to the former Small Business Commissioner, and he said if I could teach business owners in Perth 3 things, it would be financial literacy, digital literacy, and how to read contracts. Those 3 things, they just that's where they fall down.
Yeah. I would certainly agree with that. Yeah, I've read plenty of contracts, but you've got to be good at that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it sounds like you have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, I do.
Fun with the different small business owners. Yeah. We're going to finish off with some very quick, rapid 5 questions.
Yep.
First thing pops into your head.
All right.
What's the single most important factor that makes a successful business?
Understanding. And it's not just understanding your products or services. It's understanding what your business system is that converts demand into GP and cash. Actually, and understand what your role and what your role is in that system, and what the role is of the key functions in that system, and how they've got to work together.
Yeah,
that's most important. If you can have a strategic planning session, but if you can't align on what you're doing operationally on Monday morning, just don't even think about the strategy. You've got to have operational alignment first.
Correct. If you were to wave your magic wand over the local business scene, what would you change? You're king for the day in WA.
I would change the way in which the lens we use to understand business.
Right.
That's really what I'm about.
Yeah.
It's, hey, let's not try and break things down into different functions. Let's understand business as a whole system that's got some key processes and how you work together to take customer demand, convert it into products and services, and at the end of the day, generate GP and cash is more important than anything else.
Which leader do you most admire? A person, a business leader, a politician, alive or dead?
You know what? I've been wondering about my response to this kind of question for a while. There's one of my very old clients. When I worked with him, he was struggling a lot, and then I caught up with him a couple of years ago, and he's probably one of the very few business owners that has actually got his team functioning really, really well without him. Their revenue, their profit's gone up.
That's the test.
They've all got new cars, and it's a real success story. And it was, just a lovely guy, great values, and a product that has probably about a 90% market share in Perth. So quite extraordinary.
Nice.
Yeah, quite amazing.
You can't say who he is. Not allowed to. You're just going to keep that.
He's. Oh, would you want me to say his name?
Sure.
So, Bruno Staltari is the
business?
owner of Linear Architectural Systems.
Okay.
And they sell moldings that go on the outside of houses, like banding and profiles that can make a house look really, really different. It can really stand out. And most of what they do is they use a product called Hebel, which is manufactured by a CSR to basically produce these profiles and the banding, but they just take the product, they manufacture it themselves. They also do a lot of work on like the fascias of commercial buildings as well and apartment blocks.
Oh, great!
But a really, really great business.
So you went and talked with him, and he took your system and he got it and he implemented it and is just rocking with it.
He's taken the ideas and then put a lot of hard work into it and made it work.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How can anyone listening to this help you?
Look, if you are a business owner or you know of a business owner that is perhaps struggling
a bit,
and then put them in contact with me.
Cup of coffee.
See if I'd like to see what I can do to help them.
Great. And what do you do to get away from it all, to relax and refresh?
Look, I guess a couple of things. One is last couple of years we've been to New Zealand a couple of times, and that's been really good. Just getting out into the countryside, getting out into a different environment, seeing nature, getting outside of Perth. Sometimes you just need to clear the cobwebs.
Travel. Yeah. But during the week, during the normal working month, what do you do? Is that
I usually go for a bike ride on the weekend, something like that. Right. Go for a walk somewhere, do some things with the kids. But you just got to have a break. Sometimes you just need to chill out a bit.
Thanks, Chris. Great advice. And I really enjoyed the discussion about gross profit and cash. So important. Converting customer demand, gross profit, and cash. So one thing you remember, that's the thing you remember. And I want to wish you, your team, well, I think you don't have a team, it's yourself, right? But you work with other people. All the best for the future. We recorded this podcast at the Podwave Studios in beautiful Leederville, West Australia. Don't forget to subscribe to WA Leaders. Just go to any pod platform, put in WA Leaders, you'll find us, right? Or we're on YouTube as well. So our latest episodes can appear in your feed. And if you like what you hear, leave us a review. Great to hear from you. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.